Can you tell how many of you have joined for this class? How many of you have joined?
Sir,
Uh,
about 10.
about 10. Okay. So, Supriya, I can see Lopamudra, classroom 2, Sumita, Geeta Das left. Around 10 people have joined. Today is actually the part which is assigned to us was psychopathology, fundamental of psychopathology, and how it has um, a different psychopathology. People have in different disease condition. Okay. So if you have a notebook, you can start writing that what are the 10 fundamental area where Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In between there is a internet problem, so it was disconnected. Now it is okay with all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we were discussing the general eye contact and appearance. That part you have learned. Okay. So we'll go to the next part. Is the patient's consciousness. That is called the higher motor function. In the higher motor function, you can write consciousness, memory, speech, and orientation. So consciousness, orientation, memory, and speech. Let us see what are the component of consciousness, orientation, memory, and speech for a normal person. Once we understand the how the normal person's psychic or the psychological makeup, then we can differentiate from that of a depressed person or that of from a psychotic or a schizophrenic patient. So whenever it comes to the normal person is a conscious person. He or she is alert and arousable. If suppose I am sleeping, I'm so called normal, then I am arousable. It is then person is conscious, person is alert, and patient is oriented to time place person. You can write patient is oriented to time place person, and patient's speech is coherent, understandable, comprehensible, and the memory, the recent, um, remote, and immediate memory all are within normal limits. So what I am repeating again: person is conscious, person is alert, arousable, and person is oriented to time place person. And one person who is healthy is supposed to have good recent memory, remote memory, and immediate memory. And the person's speech is relevant, coherent, as well as comprehensible and without any abnormalities. So that is for the normal person. Is it clear? Is it clear up to now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So whenever it comes to a depressed person, we see in the community or in a medical setup, in a counseling room, if somebody has walked in and the person is very depressed, let's say Mr. Hari has come and he is very depressed. So what we are expecting in the consciousness, alertness, arousability, as well as what we are expecting in the orientation part, in the memory assessment part, in the speech part. Okay. So when it comes to the consciousness, a supposed to be depressed person supposed to be conscious, alert. Patient might be drowsy if patient is taking some medication, but arousable. His orientation to time, place, person. If you ask a depressed person that where you are, what you have eaten in the morning, or what by which means you have traveled to the therapy center, he or she will tell it correctly. So his orientation will be normal. His memory component about the immediate memory, recent memory, and the remote memory. What is immediate? Now, which has happened within a period of few minutes. Recent, which has happened in that day. And uh, other memory is the remote memory, which has happened mostly from a period of let's say anniversary date or his birthday, how it was been celebrated. These are the things in the remote memory. So this memory in a depressed patients are actually intact. But some of the patients, because of their severity of depression, they are not able to memorize things, or they don't want to memorize things, and that is called pseudo dementia. Pseudo, PSEUDO, pseudo dementia. Pseudo dementia part of depression, and memory will subjectively, the person will complain that I am not able to remember, but that is not dementia. That is subjective memory loss, or patient feels that he is not, or she is not able to memorize as before because of the virtue of depression. And in the speech, what will you expect in a patient who is depressed? How will be the speech? Any one of you? The speech will be slow. Sometimes in the severe depression, it can be of a whispering, or patient can be sometimes severe to very severe depression, patient can be mute also. So speech will be slow with decreased tone and increased reaction time. So you can very well write this in your notebook, that patient's voice can be very muffled or slow, and there will be pause in between the words, and patient can have a increased reaction time. What is reaction time? The time between the question being asked and answer being given by the subject. So in a depressed case, the mental processing, cognitive processing takes time. So when the examiner is asking a question and the subject is giving the answer, there will be a lag phase, or there is a more time is required, or more time is taken. That is called increased reaction time. But when it comes to psychosis, these three core component of consciousness, arousability, then the orientation, and let's say for the speech and memory, are a bit different. In case of a schizophrenic patient or a psychotic patient, I will be using the term schizophrenia and psychosis alternatively. Both meaning are same. Schizophrenia is a psychosis where it is minimum period maybe more than 6 months, somebody continuously suffering. Psychosis, acute psychosis are period where the psychosis is there for, illness is there for 1 month or 2 months. But a chronicity of illness defines that as being a schizophrenia. In that case, the consciousness, we have already discussed how they look like. They look like very disabled, or they are very much not groomed. The nails are long, it is not taken care of. The hair is not combed properly. There might be psychomotor agitation or psychomotor retardation. But when it comes to consciousness, usually they are conscious, alert, arousable, but at times they are very distractible. Because of the constant hallucination, constant delusional thoughts, they will be preoccupied. So they look as if they are not oriented, or they are not in touch with reality. But if you hold their attention and try to ask proper questions, they usually give. So their orientation will be intact. Memory about the recent, remote, and immediate components are usually intact, and their speech has a problem. Speech, because of the severity of psychosis or severity of schizophrenia, their speech might be having lot of neologism, or abnormal speech content will be there, and that speech sometimes comprehensible, sometimes not comprehensible because of the process of psychosis. And speech might be having a different tone, frequency, volume, that might be altered also. So till now we have covered two parts. One is general appearance and psychomotor activity, that is the first one in the mental state examination, and how it is in depression as compared to how it is in psychosis. Next, we have dealt with the higher mental function. Under higher mental function, as I have told you in last 10 minutes, the consciousness, the orientation, attention, concentration, orientation, and memory and speech. These are the two. And what happens in depression? Depression, the patient is conscious, alert, arousable. Sometimes he is drowsy because of the effect of medication or because of sleep disturbance or whatever, because of hypersomnia maybe. But they are mostly oriented to time, place, person, and their memory is intact. But person feels that I am not able to memorize as I was memorizing before. So there is a subjective complaint of memory loss in depression, and the speech might be slow, low in tone, and productivity is less, and there is increased reaction time. But in case of a psychosis, the consciousness, person is conscious, alert, but arousability is there. But at times, patients are preoccupied and distracted because of the constant hallucination as well as constant illusion. And these patients which are having psychosis will have orientation to time, place, person, but at times they don't cooperate for the proper question answering. In case of orientation and people who are beginner in assessing psychopathology, they feel that person is not oriented, but in reality, in schizophrenia, the delirium is not there. Patient is oriented, and patient memory usually is intact, but because of the load of psychopathology of delusion and hallucination, they are not able to remember or not able to give a right answer at times. And speech might be having abnormal tone, um, and because of the abnormal content, there might be neologism, there might be some irrelevant phrases, there might be word salad, and these are the psychopathology which we encounter in different kind of schizophrenic patient. Then coming to the third point, which is having the how is the assessment of the affect and mood. So affect and the mood. Let's discuss about a normal person. Affect is the cross sectional or the uh, here and now component of the mood. Suppose when you see the difference between the weather and um, the like what is the general weather of the city, and what is the climatic condition of the city, that is called the general condition. It is mostly sunny, but currently the weather has changed and it started raining, so that is the it is like affect. So cross sectional or here and now thing is affect, and the mood is the a pervasive one, which is there almost in general 24 hours of a day or mostly in that 1 week or 2 weeks. So as we describe in a depression, the affect is mostly dull subjectively and objectively. They say that their affect is dull, and as well as the patient says is not feeling well. Some patient says I am feeling very pathetic. Some people say that I am feeling very anxious. I am not feeling. I am not of usual or ease feeling is not there. So in case of mood, the person's mood they describe, and this mood is not reactive, mood is not happy, that is low. In case of depression, normally people say yes I am feeling good, I am feeling all right, but in case of depression people feel differently. They feel low, they feel dull, they feel lethargic. Some people complain that their mood is dysphoric. Mood is dysphoric, dysphoric, dysphoric. Mood is dysphoric. So in case of psychosis, if the person is having a delusion, depending on the delusion, their mood will be influenced. Suppose I have a patient who has a delusion that he is a bank manager and he has a lot of money, or he is all transactions are very he is having crores of rupees. So how will his or her mood will be? The patient's mood will be very abnormally happy, and because there are a lot of money he thinks, but in reality it is not. So patient's mood will be influenced by the delusional content. If my delusion or my patient's delusion is that everybody is trying to prosecute, or everybody is are against him, or in a classroom everybody is talking bad about, ill about the person, then how will be the mood? Mood will not be good. Mood will be fearful, or person will be in a schizophrenic patients it happens. Mood can be influenced by the thought content. If the abnormal thought content is mostly about a grandiose delusion that you are the chief of a big, or CEO of a big company, or you are controlling the whole world activity, then accordingly the person might be unnecessarily or irrelevantly happy, excited, cool, chill, and his walk, his behavior, and body's movements will be governed by that. But when somebody thinks that his parents are going to kill him, or his wife is infidel to him or her, infidel to the patient, then, or if spouse is infidel, then the patients will be very fearful, very dull, very depressed, withdrawn, and mood will be accordingly very negative. And if the person thinks he is a big person, he is a big person's sons, or he is the king of a country, then his mood will be abnormally excited. Depending on the thought content, in a schizophrenia, the mood and affect will change. Okay, so this is the third important component, is the mood and affect. AFFEC, and mood is MOOD, mood. So in moods, always there is a two component, the subjectivity and objectivity. The subject, what he complains about or what he projects his mood as, is the subjective mood, and objective mood is the what examiner is finding, or after interacting in the psychopathology assessment, that is mental status examination, what kind of psychopathology person is assessing, that is the objective mood. So what you are seeing in a patient's, in the affective reaction as well as pervasive mood, is your assessment, and that is called objective. And what, when you ask the person how you are feeling all these days, how uh, your emotions are all these days, and if person says it is very negative, it is very pathetic, it is unbearable, then you will say it is a dysphoric mood or affect. Okay, so then the important component is the content of the thought. So when you see the thought, oh, what we have dealt till now is, if we summarize, can you tell, can anybody unmute and tell what are the things we have told, this, what are the main headings in psychopathology? One is appearance and, hello, appearance and the general appearance and the psychomotor activity, that is the first component. And next is higher mental function. Okay, and the which has four component: consciousness, attention concentration, orientation, speech, and memory. And now the mood and affective reaction is over. Fourth component is very important, is the thought, assessment of the thought. Thought has its content, and that content normally is a coherent and rational thought, which has a continuity, and which has meaning, and which has in reality testing, it is positive, and it is not out of the world. uh, so normal thought content and the continuity of the thought, and they are aligned, and the thought is having sequence. Let's for give it an example. If I have gone to see a movie, and I am describing the what are the flow of the thought, So we have planned, our family planned. We have taken a ticket, in the booked the ticket in online, taken the vehicle, arrived in the thing. We enjoyed the movie. Some of us liked the movie, some of us didn't like the movie, and then we came back. We had our late dinner and went for sleep. So this shows very coherent, having a logical connection, and which is reality happens to many of us in a normal situation. And then we'll say that its thought contents are uh, relevant, rational, having a logical connections, and there is no derailment, and there is no formal thought disorder. But in case of depression, person would say that, and we have booked the ticket, and then I felt pathetic. How can I go and sit there for 2 hours continuously, and thinking that if the movie doesn't give a good feeling, then my inner feeling of feeling bad or feeling pathetic would worsen. So I started crying. I did not go with the family. I stayed back, and when I stayed back, I become feeling lonely, and I could not. I thought I would have gone and seen, but at the same time, I could not take a decision. I stayed back home. I become feeling alone, and I was trying to do something to engage myself, but I'm not able to concentrate anywhere. And there was a crying spell, and I could not sleep that night. And so mostly very negative and very deficit emotional state or negative emotional state we will find. But in case of a schizophrenia, when you describe the content, you would say that okay, they were trying to put a take me for a movie, and I thought it was a conspiracy, and they're trying to harm inside the movie hall, and so I did not go. I stayed back in the house, and when I stayed back there, then I understood. I thought I will stay back and nobody can do harm. Then I thought if I'm alone, there might something might happen. So I went with the movie. In the movie hall, in the character in the movie, they were trying to send some messages, secret message to me, and these then I could not stay there. I felt very restless. Half of the movie I saw, and I understood that everybody is conspiring, and this prosecutory racket is more or stronger. So I left the place running back to home, and when they came back home, the phone was ringing, and in the TV also they are trying to send some secret message, and I understood that everybody is trying to harm me. So you can see the systematization of the thought content, which is a paranoid variety. Paranoia means in with respect to self, with respect to the subject, that everybody, every signals, every movements, every planning is being made to prosecute or harm against the patient. So that is the beauty of the thought content assessment. In a depressed, it will have a depressive content or a negative content, or a manic, it will be a grandeur content, which is a mood disorder. But in a psychotic disorder or a schizophrenic disorder, thought content, as I described, it will maybe a paranoid content, or it may be a very bizarre content, like the chips are connected, and the supernatural or from external terrestrial people are connecting, and they are sending messages. As of with that, our kitchen room is being controlled, people are controlling me. All these kind of things, bizarre delusion might be there. So there might be a paranoid content also. So schizophrenia will have mostly like this, but depression will have mostly of a depressive cognition and nihilism, and that they perceive the there is no help, worthlessness, helplessness will be there. All these things will be might be there. So in a depression, in a schizophrenia, or in a psychosis, the thought content might be having a formal thought disorder, or they might be having a delusional content. They might be having delusion of prosecution. They might be having delusion of infidelity. They might be having delusion of some disease or hypochondrial. All these things might be there. Coming to the fifth component of perceptual disturbance in case of a schizophrenia. So perceptual disturbance in case of a depression, perceptual feeling in case of a normal person, how they vary. In a normal person, we don't hear non-existing sounds. we don't feel anything which is not existing, which is existing, which is happening around us. We perceive them through our sense organ, like we see, we smell, we hear, we taste. All these things our perception through the sensory organs. What are the sensory organs? The eyes, ear, the smell tongue, and the taste tongue, and the smell through the olfactory, that is the through nose. So these are the perception, even touch. So normal person will have normal perceptual feeling and sensation, and if there is cold, I feel uh, or I start trembling, or I'll take warm clothes. So these are the normal perception. And if it is very much and the smell is very bitter, accordingly we avoid that thing. If the taste is very sweet, and we report it accordingly. If we see something, hear something, and accordingly we match these things with the other normal person. But in case of depression, the perceptual abnormalities are not usually seen. In case of depression, suppose I am very depressed, I am thinking that I have done something wrong, and there is a delusion of guilt, and people are going to kill me, or there is a police are coming here to arrest me. In severe case of depression, sometimes there will be perceptual abnormalities, in mostly in the auditory form. For example, if somebody is depressed, untreated, and in severe case of nihilistic delusion or a delusion of guilt, I will feel that hearing of police siren, or hearing of some very negative thing, that I am going to be killed or I am going to die. But in case of schizophrenia, they have mostly the auditory hallucination. Some schizophrenic will have tactile, olfactory, even visual hallucination, but mostly it is auditory hallucination. In case of auditory hallucination, they think, or they get the signals whenever nobody is there, or no sound source is there, but still they hear that you are the king, you don't worry, you need not work somewhere, you need not, you have to boss, and your parents are against you, you have to go away from this house. And they start interacting with this non-existing voice, and they start hallucinatory muttering or talking to self or smiling. When suppose somebody will say that you have won now, just now, 1 lakh rupees in the jackpot, then there will be a smile automatically comes in the patient's face. And so they, that is called hallucinatory response. So they hear a hallucination and they respond to that. So that is called hallucinatory response, hallucinatory behavior. So this hallucinatory behavior usually not seen in depression, and hallucination is never existed in case of normal person. So in the normal person, perception are normal. Why? Because through the sense organ of eye, ear, nose, tongue, and the feelings of our touch is everything normal. We hear normal things which is are told around us. We hear, we see normal things which is present around us, as well as we taste what is given to us, and we smell what is there. But in case of depression, as I told you, there there they sometimes feel that the intestine is not working. They can feel some tumor inside the stomach, and they feel very pathetic. They sometimes think there is a disease inside. So all this delusion of disease or delusion of prosecution sometimes make them feel more and more depressed, and it happens in severe case of mood disorder and severe case of depression. But in case of schizophrenia, the origin of the disease might be in a in a perceptual distortion, where the person start hearing non-existing voices. Can be a derogatory, it can be a commanding, or it can be something neutral, something very hilarious. And they sometimes hear two-person discussing about the patient, that is called third person auditory hallucination. And sometimes they give running commentary that you are going to do this, you are going to do that, as if somebody is hearing running commentary of self. It is being given by some non-existent source. So auditory hallucination is very common in schizophrenia. But schizophrenic patients sometimes have visual, tactile, olfactory hallucinations. Clear? Are you able to understand? Any doubt till now? Hello? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubt you have, students? Lopamudra,
No,
Sir, till
sir.
Priya.
now, no doubt I have.
Okay. Have you read all these things before, or it is there in given your in the text which is given to you, study material?
Sir, actually, no, sir, actually, I have done my first master's in counseling. That's why many things
Okay.
I learned, but as you told me, it's a revision for me now. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So you have already have some knowledge about all these things.
Yes, a little, but as you told me, so it's clear, it's very clear for me, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other students like mm, Padmasri? Are you there, Padmasri? Student Supriya? Amanpreet Kaur left. Okay, let's move to the next part, which is assessment of the
Sir,
suicidal intent.
hello.
For, anybody wants to say something?
Yes, sir. As I
Hmm.
was not there, so I just want to clear general appearance and first company.
Okay. So you joined little late.
Yes, sir.
So
From
in
mental
general
higher
appearance,
function. Yes,
you joined during the discussion where we
mental,
discussed different component of
mental
the
higher.
higher mental function.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the general appearance, what we discuss is where we see a normal person in day to day time. We see that person is making eye contact, is talking relevantly, he or she is well dressed or dressed adequately, his hygiene is adequate, his activities are appropriate, and he is cordial. Whenever asked something, he is responding appropriately. These are the components when you put together. We say that this is normal general appearance and general psychomotor activity. Normal. Okay. Psychomotor activity is not a very complicated term. Psycho means psychological, psychic process, the thinking process, and the motor activity is the behavior, outward behavior which somebody shows. So from the general appearance and the general conduct, where the person is conducting himself in our vicinity, we can make a comment that his general appearance and psychomotor behavior are within normal limits. So general appearance is nothing but it is a amalgamation of the the way the somebody comes to your room, sits in the chair, maintaining a posture, appropriate posture, making appropriate behavior, adequate eye contact, his interpersonal skills, communications, and overall get up, hygiene. All these things makes a sense about the appearance and general conduct. But in case of depression, when somebody is brought in a severe depression to your uh, psychological assessment room, you will see that a person is carried and he is brought very slowly. His gait will be slow. He is maybe supported by his family member. His hair is not properly taken care of. He has looks like he has not eaten well for few days. He was crying just before or crying on the interview table, and there is psychomotor retardation. All these things makes a general appearance. A general appearance always give a very superficial idea. Maybe Are you not sleeping well? Are you not eating well? And you look depressed. So that is a comment when you see somebody. So a professional when sees a patient for the first time, if it is deviant from the general appearance and the conduct and general normal behavior, so-called normal behavior, then we can make a statement that his look was very little dull. He looks lethargic. There is very limited excitement. The psychological makeup and the motor activity was retarded, and patient was crying in between. Patient's nutrition and the self-care was not looking adequate. So this is the general appearance of a depressed patient. But in case of a schizophrenic patient, when he was schizophrenia is a serious illness, it is a psychotic illness, and schizophrenia is an illness of uh, schizophrenia is an illness of um, thought content. So in case of schizophrenia, the illness is very severe, and in that case, people are very disabled. Their self-care is very retarded. They usually sometimes make very intense eye contact. Sometimes they don't look at the face of the examiner. They might be very disturbed patients, very disruptive, abnormal behavior. Suddenly they will sit in the counselor and they sit on your chair, or they may be very retarded, tired of, and sitting on a corner, or few people holding him or holding her will be that condition. So that is the appearance of a schizophrenic patient. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then we discuss the higher mental function, and as part of the repeating it, I am repeating it again and again because that will help you to memorize. And when you read again, in the consciousness, attention concentration, then the memory, then the speech, all these things are part of the higher mental function. If higher mental function actually are mostly intact in case of primary psychiatric disorders like depression, mania, psychosis, OCD, anxiety disorder. Today, I have kept the discussion mostly in a comparison from a mood disorder to a psychotic disorder. Later on, in subsequent classes, we will go deep into each of these diagnoses depending on your syllabus and curriculum. Okay. So, and then we discuss about mood, affect, and the different component of normal mood. When somebody feels normal, as usual, feeling good when something good happens, feeling sad when something sad happened in the vicinity, and the cross-sectional picture of mood is affect, affective reaction. And in the mood, there will be range, reactivity, and mobility, and different components of mood. You will also see different dimensions. These are called different dimensions of mood: range, reactivity, mobility, uh, restrictiveness of mood, and other two components are there. Motor movement as per the mood. There. But in case of in a depressed patient, the mood patient subjective component we ask, and objective component the examiner has to assess and write. So in the subjective component, as we expect, a depressed patient, moderately depressed, and if you ask them how you are feeling all these days, how's your mood in general last 15 days, person will in a teary eyes on a very uh, retarded speech will tell, yeah, I am not feeling well, I am feeling being cheated, or I am feeling that I am very hopeless, I'm life is worthless, or I should not live, I should die. Some kind of assessment we can make. When subject makes, he's not feeling well, he's feeling pathetic, he's feeling withdrawn, he's feeling dysphoric, he's feeling depressed, people will tell in different language. So but so objectively the examiner, or me as examiner, or you as examiner, or you are a counselor, you can also feel that person is, you can also feel that mood is um, not good, it is dull, it is dysphoric, it is looking, person is looking lethargic, person is looking withdrawn, person is crying, person is not making eye contact, as expected. All these things will also give a indication towards mood. And mood, as I told, that range, reactivity, mobility, restrictiveness, and the accompanying motor movement are the different components of the mood and affect. Okay. Then we came and discussed about the thought. Thought, what we discussed? The form and the content of the thought. So normally the form is from well-formed thoughts comes to a healthy brain, and each of the thought has a logic behind it, and there is a continuity in the train of thought in a normal person, and which is matching to the context. For example, if a normal person goes to a funeral or somebody has been expired, and what will be the thought? That this is the reality of life, and he will be very calm and tearful. At the same time, person is thinking about some of the memories which we have with the person who has died, and will be sympathetic towards the people who are accompanying there. And somebody will be crying, somebody will be very quietly standing, somebody without any voice having tears rolling down. Thoughts are very logical, coherent, and relevant, and appropriate to the situation and coherent to the context. But if the psychotic person goes to a funeral, might be giggling, smiling, might make a statement that, oh, I have died 10 years back, this person is dying now. It's good that the person died because uh, I have been seeing him dying for last 10 years. Some irrelevant stuff will come out. So that is called abnormal thought content. It might lose the train of connectivity. It might lose the rationality. It might lose the reality thoughts. And that's how the thought becomes irrelevant, and it might be incomprehensible. Thought might be desire at some time. And as I gave example of a schizophrenia, they might most commonly they have delusion of prosecution. Sometimes they have delusion of infidelity. Sometimes have delusion of grandeur. Sometimes have delusion of disease. Sometimes they have delusion of some somatic delusion that there is a tumor inside the brain and it is growing, but I am feeling very good. The tumor will take over the brain and I will be very enlightened person. And if you do 10 times MRI, you will not find anything, but person will still talk about that abnormal somatic sensation, and that will give a somatic delusion. So different kind of thought content will give. So there are secondary thought contents and primary thought abnormalities. That is a part of the psychopathology. We will discuss in the subsequent class in detail about this primary thought abnormalities and secondary thought abnormalities. In case of depression, thought contents are mostly, as I discussed, it will be hopeless, helpless feeling, and worthless feeling. That hope towards the future is not there. Future is very bleak. I am worthless as compared to as for the need of the family. I am not able to do anything, and there is no one or no source to help me. So I am very hopeless, worthless, and helpless. So these are the cognitive three error of depression, and there will be negative cognitive state. Person will feel very nihilistic. For example, I would say if I am depressed, I will say anyway the world will come to an end, all will die, and I am feeling very pathetic, and there is no interest in life. So these are the very nihilistic thinking about the earth. Or patient might get that um, feeling that uh, however I put effort, anyway the failure is always the result. So person will feel, okay, I will not put any effort. What is the point of eating, saving, or having family? Anyway, all the people will die tomorrow. So these are the thought content which we see mostly in case of depression. So that is based depression is mostly revolves around this. But in case of delusion of Figoli and delusion of phenomenon, which is the sense
The
organs are
eyes,
the
nose,
eyes.
nose,
Oh
ear,
yes,
chest, thought.
and yes, these are the sense organ. And when we feel the normal touch feeling or pain and temperature, then we understand pressure. These are the because of the touch, or because of the smell. We can smell different fragrance. We can see different things around us. We can hear things which are is noise is created, or a music is there. All this thing we hear, we see. But in case of schizophrenia, the perception get distorted, and that is how the hallucination is created. The definition of hallucination is a perception without any existence. A perception, abnormal perception, when a psychotic person perceives without any source. So there is no candle, there is no light. But person with hallucination will see a source of light. There is no song being put in the vicinity, but person can hear music. Person can hear songs of different languages, and will try to mimic those things. Then friends will ask, "What you are singing?" "No, I am hearing this thing." "Can't you hear?" "You people cannot hear." "I can hear this." So they will feel as if that is a totally normal. That is what in reality is happening. So they sometimes as if they are hearing some voice so clearly, so vividly, so involving that they so vividly that they think that is totally real, and that is called perceptual distortion. Mostly in schizophrenia, there is which kind of hallucination people see or people feel. What is the most common type of hallucination in schizophrenia? Is auditory, and sometimes people have tactile hallucination, olfactory hallucination. Very rarely they can have visual hallucination also. Okay, so in perception we have covered perception, then the suicidality. So what is suicidality? The intent of dying. The intentionality of dying, when it is very high, it is high intent suicidal ideas. When the anger or a frustration turns outward, then person shows aggression. When the agitation, anger, and a kind of decimating anger is turned inward, as a Freud, it is called suicidal ideation or suicidal intent. Then suicidal intent, if it is very strong, can lead to suicidal attempt. And if the person survives or the attempt of suicide is aborted, then person can survive with a past history of suicide attempt. From suicidal intent, we have to ask the patient whether you feel as if this life is not worth living. We directly don't ask, do you feel like committing suicide? It will be from out of nowhere, and we are asking very extremely sensitive and extremely important questions. So very empathetic way, what we are listening to you or hearing from the patient for some time, for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and later you can ask a leading question that do you feel at some time that life is not worth living, or you want to feel like committing suicide, or you want to go away from somewhere unknown place. So these are the way we can ask, are you not feeling well all these days? However you felt, I am a burden to the family, let me end my life, or life is not worth living, or life has become very painful and I should escape from this, or like these kind of questions sometimes make the person say that yes, I have felt uh, few occasions, or I am feeling all the time, or I am feeling in last 1 week more that I should die, and I have made some plan, or I have made attempted once or twice or else. So suicidality is a very important part of the psychopathology examination of any patients with psychological disturbance. Then comes to the part where there is called volitional abnormalities. So volitional abnormalities is made phenomenon. Like some people say ki we feel our emotions is our movements are under my control, and what I am thinking is under my control. So in case of volitional VOLITIONAL, volitional abnormalities, people with mostly schizophrenic disorder, they feel that made phenomenon happens. Like my emotions are not mine, my thoughts are not mine, my movements are not mine. Rather, it is being controlled by some external agencies. That's how made impulse, made volition, or made phenomenon happens. Made emotions, made affect. My mood is being controlled by some external agency. My movements I am not making, somebody else is making my movement. And what I'm feeling is not mine, my feeling, my own indigenous feeling or de novo feeling. It is being inflicted by something else. These are in a very few group of volitional abnormalities is seen in very few subset of schizophrenic patients. Usually, it is not seen in depression. So then come to the judgment, and judgment has three components: personal judgment, social judgment, and test judgment. So personal judgment, social judgment, and test judgment. So mm personal judgment is if the person has a clear plan about, clear understanding about the past and present, and a plan for the future, we will know, understand that personal judgment is intact. And in case of social judgment, in a social circumstances, if the person has a appropriate rational approach and coordination of behavior, then we will understand the social judgment is good. And test judgment, if they give them a condition that if there is a sudden outbreak of fire in this room, what we will do, or if you see certain problem, we will give a problem. Like suppose you see some paper with or a um, 500 rupees is fallen on the road, or some valuables you find inside on a road, what you should do. And if he says, I will take this and go to the police station, deposit this, and we will take the photo and put everywhere that thing, something is missing, and somebody can give the evidence and take. So we'll know that test judgment is all right. If there is a fire, then we'll try to call the police fire brigade, or put the fire extinguisher, put the alarm so that everybody will vacate that house. So these are the social appropriate behavior, and which has gives a good or normal test judgment. In case of depression, people sometimes have partial error in the judgment. That's the reason they go for suicide. That's the reason they don't have hope that medication will help or therapy will help. In severe case of depression, there is a judgment error will be there. So judgment might be impaired, or judgment might be compromised, or might be deficient. But in case of schizophrenia, usually there is a severe deficit of personal judgment, social judgment, as well as test judgment. So last component is the insight. In case of normal person, we have an understanding of self, and we are conscious, so we are responding to the internal and external cues, as also we have an understanding about our well-being or illness. Suppose I am having blood pressure, I understand I have a blood pressure, I have to take the medicine appropriately each day. So my insight about blood pressure is, or hypertension is there. Suppose I am having diabetes, or people with diabetes, they take care of their own medicine. They go once in 3 months to the doctor, or if they are doing very well, once in 6 months, they take care, do all the tests which is prescribed, and we say person having good or normal insight, understanding about the illness and doing appropriate thing to control the illness or correct the problem, as well as having a follow the doctor's advice and all. In depression, sometimes the partially insight is there. They understand there is depression. Some people they want help. Some people they deny help, and some people become very suicidal. Some people are very agitated. Some people, so we say in depression, insight is partially lost or partially deficit. In case of schizophrenia, insight is mostly impaired. They don't feel that they have an illness. They don't feel that they are thinking like this, but things are not so. Because of the illness, the insight is impaired in case of schizophrenia. So a normal person has a normal insight or a adequate insight about the current situation, current problem, even in case of physical illness and all. In a depressed patient, it has a partial insight, and schizophrenic patients are total insight is impaired. That's the reason they don't take medicine, they don't agree for any treatment, and we have to hospitalize them, give the medication through sisters, give more counseling, try to improve the insight, and so that they will become little more compliant. So this finishes your major component of psychopathology assessment. So on this basis, we'll see the curriculum and which part is there, and accordingly we'll go further. And if the coordinator is online, I want to know that how much time we have, or if you have any doubts, you can ask.
Sir, another half an hour.
Okay, so can I take doubts from
Yes,
this
yes, sir.
basics
Yes,
of
sir.
psychopathology now?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Yes.
Okay, so be free, and you have, if don't feel like whether it is a doubt is a small or big. Up to my ability, I will try to clarify whatever small, big, or whatever it may be. Don't hesitate. Don't be feel inhibited. You open up and unmute and very clearly ask your doubt in the psychopathology part.
Sir, actually, I don't have the doubt, but
Hmm.
in my clinic, sometimes the patients they are coming like depression, anxiety, stress, or husband-wife marital issues. For that reason, they are coming to my clinic. Then accordingly, I am giving them counseling. Suppose
Hmm.
one client will come, his background is schizophrenia. So at that moment, I should
Hmm.
say that he should go to hospital, then get the medicine, and then come to me for the counseling session. Or
Hmm.
anything there, so that I follow and accordingly I work, sir. Please. I wanted to know it.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir,
The
did you get me, sir?
last part of your questions got a lot of technical problem. Can you again
Yes, sir.
repeat?
Maybe. Yes, sir. Sir, suppose one client will come to me for the counseling session. Then I came to know that he is a schizophrenia patient.
Hmm.
So at that time, I should tell their parents they should talk to a psychiatrist or get the medicine, and then after that, counseling session would be given to him. Or other thing is there so that I can follow. So I wanted to know it from you, sir.
Yeah, as you rightly said, if you find out somebody having schizophrenia and they have come
Sir,
from some other purpose also, so better
sir,
to have a collaborative approach. They can go to
sir,
psychiatrist, eat their medicine, as well as if
sir,
they have a marital problem or they have problem of anger control or there
sir,
is a problem of time management. or time and problem of any addiction side by side. So that
Sir.
counseling can be given. But if it
Yes,
is
sir.
most important thing is some of the counselor they say ki what is there in the medicine, stop the medicine, and all these kind of negative counseling is actually
Sir.
sometimes harmful. So it
Oh,
is always good to collaborate with the treating team and
sir.
give the counseling. You
Sir.
and by the collaboration, what happens better is if the doctor says or the team says he needs more of this therapy, or he needs anger management, or he needs their family needs good communication, or if so that is the thing. Then and if the counselor gives that, and then coordinate with the primary doctor or the hospital team and all, then what
Sir.
happens now, then the patient gets the maximum benefit. And suppose if
Sir.
medicine is giving some side effect,
Sir.
very immature counselor or somebody says ki, no need to eat medicine, I will correct everything through by counseling, and they have a
Sir.
trust on the counselor and they do
Sir.
that. What happens
Oh,
after few weeks or months, there will be catastrophe and there will be total relapse. So
yeah.
that's the reason we can say, okay, if you have a problem with the medication dose and all thing, let us communicate with the person who has prescribed, and we can try to see whether the dose can be reduced under the supervision of a prescribing person.
Sir. Sir. Thank you, sir.
So we have to collaborate, and
Sir.
once we collaborate, then there will be more trust among the treating team, and person or the family will get the benefit. Is that
Yes, sir.
answer your question?
Yes, sir. 100% satisfied, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Please open up. You ask. Don't hesitate. Supriya, Gitanjali, Padmasri. Who else are there? Sili, Suchitra, Tripti, Classroom 2. Okay, suppose you don't have a doubt now. Let me discuss few things about the definition of delusion before I end this class, because that is very important. We think that all thoughts are delusional. It is not, because that is a very fundamental thing we should discuss in the psychopathology fundamentals. So, what is delusion? And anybody can make an attempt. The Gitanjali, Supriya, can you unmute and say what is delusion? Priya Rani, Tili, Suchitra, Tripti. We should not waste time. Kindly tell me
Sir,
what
sir,
you
may I?
understand by delusion.
Sir, may I?
Yes,
Sir, I think
yes.
delusion
Go
is
ahead.
the. Yes, sir. Sir, I think delusion is the means the false mindset and maybe some wrong belief system that we have kept in our mind. So accordingly, we think that it's the correct, but in the reality, it's not correct. That I think, sir. Is.
Okay, so that is a you are partially correct. It is a false belief, and it is
Sir,
a very firm belief.
it is also
Yes.
known as the abnormality of thought. Means if a person is thinking like somebody is standing in front of him, but it is not actually present.
So if that person is able to see that somebody is standing, but actually somebody is not standing, so that will be become visual hallucination. But in the if somebody is thinking that people are around and they are trying to harm or trying to do something bad, then it is becomes a delusion. Thinking abnormality is thinking. So coming to the
Yes, sir.
core
Thought.
definition.
Sir, it is a
uh,
abnormality thought.
Yeah, abnormality thought. Normal thought, I told repeatedly, we should be rational, we should have a logic, and we should be connected, and it is a train of thought which has a context. So that is called normal thought. When some thoughts are abnormal, false, it is held with firm conviction. You can write, delusion is a false belief. Delusion is a false belief which is held with abnormal conviction or a very strong conviction and does not change with giving logic or evidence contrary to that, does not change
Sir,
or does not
once
be
again repeat,
second
please.
by.
Sir, repeat, please.
This is a false belief firmly held by the subject. False belief firmly held by the subject. It has a abnormal conviction or having a very strong conviction of the patient, cannot be second or cannot be altered by giving rational evidence contrary to it. These are the four subcomponents. There are another two subcomponents. First is the false belief. Okay. Second is firmly held. It has very strong conviction of the subject. And if you give evidence contrary to this, still the person hold on to the false belief. For example, I am giving an example at this point in time. If I think I have a tumor which is rotating inside my stomach from this place to the right to left, and sometimes middle, sometimes becoming enlarged, sometimes squeezed its shape, all these things. So it is a, my family member thinks I have done 2 times ultrasound or a CT abdomen, and everybody is saying no, it is not there, but still I feel or I believe there is a problem, and I am gradually becoming more and more sick, thinking that there might be somebody is growing or some fetus of the monkey is growing inside a male stomach. So all this kind of bizarre thought which is there, I have convinced about it. I am a schizophrenic patient. I am convinced about it. I give a total elaboration about how it happens. My conviction is very firm and my belief is very strong, though it is false. At the same time, if my doctor gives a certificate saying that it is not there, if ultrasound report says it is not there, my family member reassures me it is not there, after that also I still believe, I feel or I think it is still there. It is a tumor. Inside the tumor, there is something abnormal. There is a let's say some egg is there inside the tumor, which is disturbing me. So in that case, it becomes a false belief, firmly held with unusual conviction. In spite of giving evidence contrary to this, I still believe that is there. And there are two other components. If my IQ is average and I am in clear consciousness, still I feel this one, and there is no culturally subcultural thinking is not in accordance with the subcultural norm. In a person having normal average IQ and in clear consciousness, if somebody has a false belief, firmly held, strong conviction, and in spite of giving evidence contrary to this, but person still hold on to the belief, and it is not shared by the subcultural norm. What is the last one? Meaning, if in a community or in a tribal community or in a particular caste or a particular region, people think that there is black magic happens, and because of the black magic, people develop fever. And when they do puja, offer worship in the village deity, then fever subsides. And if everybody in the village or most of the people in the village feel that, and that village person has come to your clinic and says that because of the black magic I was having fever, and when we did puja, offered worship, then I become all right. We cannot say it is a delusion of black magic, because we have to ask whether this is the common belief in the village, and that is called subcultural norm. If mother says yes, we believe like this, and he also believes same thing. So if the subculturally we believe that, or there is a belief system, that it cannot be delusion. So not in accordance with the subcultural norm. So let us repeat again. It is a false belief, firmly held, which has unusual conviction by the subject. In spite of giving evidence contrary to this, person continues to believe that, and it is not in accordance with the subcultural norm. Then it is called a delusion. And a delusion always is being described in a person with average in normal intelligence and average IQ, normal intelligence, and clear consciousness. That means if I am a mentally retarded child, and I should not elicit delusion there. Mentally retarded child maybe have some magical thinking, some thinking. There we cannot establish or assess properly delusion. When the child grows up to 30, mental age is 6 years, the delusion cannot be established. And suppose my conscious, because I have taken intoxicated, or I am not conscious, I am having brain fever or brain malaria, and you am not able to understand your questions or understanding the things partially, delusion cannot be assessed. Delusion will have this 5 or 6 component. Is that clear? Are you with me? Any other doubts you have in pertaining to delusions? Or you have any questions related to delusion? Have you understand the concept of
No,
delusion?
no, sir.
Yes. You have understood or not understood?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Understood.
is the delusion is genetic, or it sometimes genetic or not, sir?
See, delusion is not a disease. It
Sir.
is one of the symptoms or signs of a illness or a disorder. Okay, so just below that you can write, if the normal person can have a normal thought process, patient with a person who has come from a different subgroup of culture, of traditionally from a tribal community or from a village or from different country, will have a different subcultural view. That is a normal thought process. Below that you can write, in case of depression, people used to have referential delusion. Okay, patient can have some amount of paranoid delusion, PARANOID, paranoid delusion. Patient can have nihilistic delusion, nihilistic, NIHILISTIC, nihilistic delusion. Patient can have, sometimes patient can have a hypochondrial delusion in depression, hypochondrial delusion, and patient can have delusion of nihilism, I told, and patient can have delusion of guilt. Okay, so these are the delusion types which are seen in severe depression, not in mild or moderate depression. Patient in severe depression can have this kind of delusions. Okay. But in case of schizophrenia, patient usually have paranoid delusion or grandeur delusion, delusion of desire, delusion of disease, delusional metamorphosis, delusion of misinterpretation, Figoli phenomenon, Capgras phenomenon, delusion of double. That lot of different kind of delusions can be observed in case of schizophrenia. In case of manic people, which is the opposite of depression, manic means that person is high excitement, increased talk, hyperactivity, and goal directed hyperactivity. So it is opposite of depression. In case of opposite of depression condition, in that is a mood state, patient usually have grandiose delusion that I am very so and so, I am very rich, I have a lot of extra power, and they are very excited, they are hyperactive, and they are decreased need for sleep, they are overwhelmed with excitement, they talk a lot, and they try to do a lot, and they become
Mama,
very disturbed. So that is in case of manic. Usually delusions are not seen in OCD, anxiety disorder, panic disorder, personality disorder. All these people, they don't have delusion. Children with,
excuse me, sir.
yes,
What is the difference between manic and panic?
okay, a very good question, because they rhyme well, like manic and panic. Manic state is the opposite. They see depression is low mood, anhedonia, and easy fatigability. If you make a dull face, no energy to work, lethargic, very tired, that is called depression. Just opposite of that, that is called manic state. In manic state, person will have, in depressed, low energy. So in a manic state, there will be high energy level, over excitement, increase energy, excessive feeling of happiness, and there will be decreased need for sleep, and they talk a lot of ideas come to their brain, and that is a very opposite state of depression, which is a mood disorder. Okay. But your panic is a form of anxiety disorder, which we will describe in subsequent class. There are 4-5 disorder which are comes under anxiety disorder, like generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, agoraphobia, phobic disorder, panic disorder. So out of those anxiety disorder, one component is panic disorder.
Okay.
Okay. So it comes under
Thank you, sir.
anxiety disorder. But
Thank you, sir.
manic comes under mood disorder. A manic comes under mood disorder. Panic comes under anxiety spectrum disorder. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. And but in case of English language, feeling of panicky is actually used loosely for where condition we person likes to fight or flight, try to run away from the panic feeling. If there is a tremor in the house, we'll feel panic and we want to come out of it. Okay. So that is a English meaning of a feeling very overwhelmed, sudden feeling of overwhelm, urgency to move out of the house because there is a tremor or a impending earthquake. So that is a panic feeling. That is an English word. But in case of panic disorder, it has a different criteria. Okay. So panic term should be understood or differentiated from the English panic, should be differentiated from the panic illness or panic disorder. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
So okay. So loosely we tell somebody is depressed, somebody is anxious, but that is just a English meaning of feeling anxious or something like that. But it has no hello. So I think I
Yes,
am
sir.
In the delusion, I was discussing delusion, which is very common in case of organic vein syndrome, that we'll discuss sometimes. In mood disorder, depression, which kind of delusions are there, I have described. In manic, delusion of grandeur can be there. In case of schizophrenia, all kinds of delusion we discussed. We will be discussing when we discuss schizophrenia in detail. But when it comes to the anxiety disorder, as I discussed, which is can be a panic, can be a phobic disorder, can be a obsessive compulsive disorder, obsessive compulsive related disorder, trichotillomania, all these things will not have a delusion. Okay, they will not have delusion or hallucination. That's why they are different from psychotic disorder. That's why they are called neurotic disorder, and these schizophrenia is called psychotic disorder, and depression and manic
Sir,
are called mood disorder. Yes,
sir, schizophrenia occur in any particular age or in old age or in a young age also?
I am very
A
happy that you
person.
have that interest to know which age this the schizophrenic illness is. Usually, schizophrenia happens in a age group of 15 to 25.
Okay,
Okay,
that
15 to
means young children also have this disease.
it starts when the child is studying 10th, 11th, or 12th, and the person will have a full blown disease around 20, and it is in female, it manifests little later, maybe around 18 or 19, and it continues throughout the life if not treated.
If the child has in the young age, it will curable or it will continue till the forever.
Schizophrenic illness is mostly manifest during the adolescent, and it continues for lifelong if it is untreated. So if there is a proper treatment and there is a continuation of taking medication and follow-up care, rehabilitation approach are all there, then 50% to 60, in today's world there are a lot of good medicines. So if it is properly treated, then, and the family is very understanding, they give a proper support, emotional support, and the people usually recover, and they can do jobs and other things they can do. But there are a variety of schizophrenia. 25%, if there are 100 people are suffering from schizophrenia, out of 100, 20 to 30 people, so 20 to 30 percentage of that 100 will not respond as expected. They might, they won't respond to the medication properly, so they get combination of treatment, and there is some disability which is developed, and they suffer a lot, and they don't recover, they need support, and they're not able to join any job, they're not able to continue with their studies, and you will see a lot of disability and a lot of disheartenment in the parents that patient is not improving. Then they cannot marry, they cannot have a family, and even with medications, they don't improve much. So the
Us.
20% cases are treatment resistant case of schizophrenia, but 80% case there is hope that they might improve, and with regular medicine, with good care and good support from the family member and society, they can improve. So there is if somebody develops schizophrenia, we should not be very hopeless, but it is definitely a severe mental ill conditions like schizophrenia, severe depressions, OCD, dementia. These are a severe mental illness, and this severe mental illness, schizophrenia is the front runner. And if you this class have any class, suppose our batch has 100 students, 1% develop schizophrenia. So the prevalence is out of 100, 1% will develop schizophrenia. So in that case, if we have 100 crores population, 1 crore schizophrenic patients are there in the community, and
Sir,
they
one
have different kind of prognosis. Yes.
sir, one more question. Sir,
Mm.
there is a myth, or you can say the tradition, that after everybody is saying after 40 and 50, we are, means it is common that we are not remember all the things. Sometimes
Hmm.
it is it schizophrenia, or it is in the age, because of age?
No, it is not schizophrenia, and what you are hinting at, it is not depression also. After 40, people forget because of lot of responsibility, and we are trying to do lot of things in this world, lot of stress, lot of pressure. People forget few things. That is normal.
Okay,
Okay. Even after
thank
60, people forget their key where they have placed some assignment. They forget. It is again normal. If it is
okay,
very severe recent memory deficit, and that also psychopathology will discuss in subsequent class, and that is called dementia, and that we will discuss subsequently.
thank you so much, sir.
Okay, I think we'll come to the end of the class. If you
Yes,
allow
sir.
me, we'll meet maybe some Saturday, and we'll
Sure, sir. Sure.
see the first part of your psychopathology, and you please read,
Yes.
and if you have any doubt, you keep it for the next class.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.